Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in to the Tuesday Tea with me, Christy. I'm so happy to have you here with me today as we talk about the magic of believing. This tea is jam packed. So get the people in here. Make sure you subscribe, leave comments, all the things. I am so happy to be here with you today. My name is Christy Farmer. I have officially been in business for over 12 years, and I am here to share with you how I am out here being magical. Not just me, but how you can be magical too. So I'll be sharing with you today. The topic of today is the power of believing, as you can see right there in the bottom. Go ahead and drop in the comments the power of believing. I really need for you to breathe in and take in this power that I'm about to unleash with you today. So it's going to come from the magic of believing. I know people are going to come in and ask, what book is it? What is the we're talking about today? It is the book, The Magic of Believing. And I am a true believer in the power of believing. I am sold out, totally in belief of it. No doubt in my mind that this works. And I'm going to share with you how. So I started, as I said, a business 12 years ago. And when I started this business, there were only 5,442 people who believed in it. How do I know? Because that's how many people who had signed up to take part in growing their business. And there was 5,441. I was 5,442. But the one thing I believe without a shadow of a doubt is that I could be successful on the goal that I had set. I wanted to make an extra $1,000 a month. That was my goal. And I believe that this business could do it. And that's how I became a success. Now, out of the 331 million people in America, there were 5,442 of us who believed in this. So you imagine when you are that small percentage of people who believe in something, there are going to be a lot of people out there who do not, okay? Who are not seeing what you're seeing, who you are going to be looked at as crazy or looked at as, why are you doing this? Well, I'm on my 12th year of that business, and I made in my first 6 years, 6 figures. And I say that it took so long for me to make 6 figures because I didn't believe it could be made. You know what changed it for me, which I will be talking and sharing with you today? I'll be talking with you today about the concept of belief and it being the driving force. That's the first thing I'm going to talk about. For those of you who are type D, you're like, what's she going to talk about today? I need to know before I sit in here listening to this. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the psychology behind belief. Okay, so if you're here with me live, if you're watching this on a replay, you can drop those in the comments. We're going to talk about the introduction or the concept of belief. We're going to talk about the psychology of belief, and then I'm going to get into individuals who have achieved success because of their belief. And so what happened is I believe I have to make $1,000, but if you do $1,000 times 12, that's $12,000 a year. That's not 6 figures, which is $8,333 a month. Or if you want to go to 7 figures, it's $83,333 a month. And so I believe if you want to hit something, you got to know what it's required. So I have that memorized. Well, I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that what I was doing was going to make that. But when other people started making 6 figures, then I bought into their belief. And I was like, if they can do it, then I believe I can do it too. So we're going to talk about today in this 30-minute time period. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go over because I even have a shirt out here being magical. I believe in the magic of believing. All right. So now I'm 12 years later and I've started a whole new business. And guess what? Out of the 331 million people out there who are doing this business, there are less than 10,000 people. And I'm the first in my circle. So if I ask all my friends, I've asked all my family, and I've asked all the business partners that I know, people who I have worked with over these 12 years about what I'm doing. And they're like, I've never heard that. Tell me about it. So again, I have to use my power of believing to be a success. And how do I know I'm going to be a success? Because I believe it. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that I'm going to come in and I'm going to take over and I'm going to be able to bless other people who don't know about this idea to know about it. So let's get into this book. All right. That's just an idea of where I come from and why my belief is so strong, but I like to know the why behind things. So when somebody recommended my mentor and my broker said, you know what, Christy, this is the book that you should read this month. I'm gonna tell the whole team to read this book, The Magic of Believing. I was like, let me get into it because I believe. But it says it's the classic guide to unlocking the power of your mind. So if right now you are short on believing, take a listen. Also, I think I'm going to step on some toes today, and it's really going to be some tea up in here, because I am going to be telling you some things that some of you believe that you have the magic or the power of believing. And then I'm going to say something you're like, ooh, maybe my belief system isn't as strong as I thought it was. So let's jump in here. We're going to jump into the introduction to the concept of believing. The introduction to the concept of believing. So on page 1, he holds no bars. He comes out on page 1. Like, listen, you know it's a good one. I'm highlighted, underlined, all kind of stuff. And I do not have time today to touch all these things, but you got to come back for the next couple of weeks where I'm talking about part 2, which is harnessing the power within. So we're going to talk about the concept of it, then how to harness the power that is already in you. First, you got to believe it there. Then you have to use it. Then the next time we're going to talk about applying that in action. And lastly, sustaining your belief long term. Because this is what happens. How many of us, drop number 1 in the comment, this happened to you. You jump into something, you believe it, and then 6 months down the line, you're like, your belief is gone. It's dissipated. It was on 100, and now your belief is down to 5%. That is chapter 4. How to, or not chapter 4, but part 4 that I'm going to go over. You have to sustain it. All right, here you go. First, page 1. The author says, I am convinced. Straighten my glasses up here. I am convinced that any intelligent person who is sincere with himself can reach any height he desires. Convinced. Are you convinced? I'm convinced that any intelligent person who is sincere with himself can reach any heights he desires. That's on page 1. I know this. I was having a meeting with one of my business partners today. And I said, hey, how was your day? She said, oh, it was good. I just finished running a 5-mile run. I was like, oh, good for you. She's like, I just finished 5 miles. I don't know if she walked it or she ran it or she did a combination of walk and run, but she finished 5 miles. She said, you can do it too. I was like, I have no doubt I can do it. I'm not interested. I'm not dropping number 2 in the comments if you're like me and you are not interested in doing no 5 miles. I'm not interested. I do 1 mile. I can do 2 miles. And that's good for me. I'm not interested in 5 miles, but I am confident. And I believe that if I wanted to do 5 miles, I don't need no pep talk. I can go out there and do it. I see those 2s dropping in the comments. I believe there's no doubt in my mind that I can do it. All right. So they're saying any intelligent person can do these things. Now we're going to go over to page 5. He says on page 5, when we're talking about the introduction of the concept of believing, it is the driving force in your success. Belief, he says, it is the same element or factor, belief, which causes people to be cured through mental healing. It's not the pills. This is my idea, and I backed up with this book. I have seen people who needed high blood pressure medicine. Sugar was low, pre-diabetic, and they believed that they did not need that medicine. They believed that they could change their life and their eating habits and their behaviors, and they would see a change. And because of that belief, they actually took the actions consistently and didn't need the medicine. Now, this book says that was written in 1948. That it is proven over and over again that it was doctors quoted in here, that is proven over and over again that if you believe it, then your mind, I tell my daughter this all the time when she's running a track meet. I said, because she said last week, my body just doesn't, you know how your body is telling you that it just can't do something? You ever had that? And I said, you know what runs your body? Your belief. Your mind runs your body. So I said, if you keep repeating to yourself and saying it out loud, like telling me, your mom, that your body, you woke up this morning and your body just saying it's just not feeling like it should do this, then that's what your body's going to do. But if you change that thought right now, and the words that come out of your mouth is like, my body today will do this. And you visualize and see yourself riding in the car to this track meet, and you visualize and you see yourself stretching, and you visualize and you see yourself at the starting line, and you visualize and see yourself going over the hurdle successfully, and you visualize and you see yourself celebrating at the end because you hit a PR, then guess what you're going to do? Hit a PR. But it's all based on your beliefs, because your brain controls your body, not your body controlling the brain. If you're letting it come out your mouth, then it's definitely in your head, and you probably repeated it a couple of times in your head before you even had the energy or the audacity to let it come out your mouth. So he says here on page 5 that you can be cured through mental healing, enable others to climb the high ladder of success, and get phenomenal results for all who accept the single word belief. If you accept the single word belief, it is the same element or factor that causes people to be cured. It's the same element or factor that causes people to climb the ladder of success. It's the same factor that causes people to get phenomenal results. It is also the lack of belief, which they don't talk about. Everything in this book is what is, what can, not what can. But we all know with every positive, there's a negative. So if you have a lack of belief, then you don't climb the ladder of success. Then you never get the skills needed to hit the next level. Then you don't improve your health. Oh, I can't climb those steps. You keep saying you can't climb the step to the top of the step. You're never going to get on step 1. If you keep saying that your body's not up for it, then your body's never going to get up for it. All right, I'm not going to stay there. We're going to keep moving to page 10. We are still on the first part of the concept, the driving force behind our beliefs. All right, the driving force. On page 10, he says, you have often heard in the book, The Magic of Believing, you have often heard it said that if you believe you can do a thing, you can do it. An old Latin proverb says, believe that you have it and you have it. Somebody drop that in the comments. Believe that you have it and you have it. Believe that you have it and you have it. He don't stop there. He says, belief is the motivating force that enables you to achieve your goal. If you are ill and the thought or belief is embedded deeply within you that you will recover, the odds are you will do so. They are in your favor. It's the belief or the basic confidence within you that brings outward or material results. He says here, so what does he do? I speak confidence within you. No, I'm sorry, skip the line. I speak of normal and mentally composed people. Now, he says, I'm not unrealistic. I wouldn't tell a crippled person that he could excel in baseball or football, nor would I tell a woman who was quite plain looking that she can make herself into a great beauty overnight, since the odds are against it. Yet, these things could happen. For there have been many remarkable cures, and I firmly believe that when more is learned about the powers of the mind, we will witness many cures deemed impossible today by the medical profession. You know, like, I'm not a biblical scholar, but I know some of y'all out there are. And this is what I believe about, and if I believe it, it's true to me. I believe about the Bible is that there were allowed to be a lot more cures back then because there was no internet to tell them that you got to have medicine. All they could go by was the healer in front of them that said, I'm going to place hands on you and you shall be healed. And guess what they did? They believed that they would be healed. There was no Facebook that says, ad that says you got to take these pills. There was no Google search that says that there's a 95% chance you won't heal. There was no commercial that says you got to get shot up with all this man-made material to be healed. No, all they had was the buying into the belief of the person that tell them that you shall be relieved. And they fell out on the ground. At least that's the way we do it today, right? And they believed it was true. Are y'all hearing me? We literally need to put on our blinders for our belief and then come back and harness the power from within. That's on part 2. You got to join me on next Tuesday tea for that. I'm going to keep it moving because this tea is hot. All right, it's going to be hot. Now, he says on page, let me stick to page 11, in an article appearing in the Canadian Medical Association Journal. In 1945, Dr. Cowles declared that in every country in the world, some magic procedures to cure warts are known. So there was a cure for warts. It may be anything from covering the wart with spider webs to burying toad eggs on a crossroad at noon moon. All of these magic procedures are effective if the patient believes in them. If, it's that big if, you have to believe. So this is I'm going to jump to this one right here because some of you, it's not going to hit home until I say this one. And I have to remember what page it's on. It's a story. Is it on here? It's a story about a lady who said some prayers. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, based on this story, why some of y'all prayers are not coming true. Here it is right here. This thing, I'm going to go ahead and drink the tea of the fan because this is right here. It says, I am forced, me and this author are forced to the conclusion that many people go through the lip service of act of saying their prayers without the slightest belief that those prayers will be answered. It's not you, it's your neighbor. It's not you, it's the lady you work with who's always complaining. It's not you, it's your kids that you raised right and they're just not listening, who say, I've been praying and I'm waiting on the Lord and it's just not coming true. Well, I didn't say it, but I believe it. He says, consequently, they are not answered. And I'm frequently reminded of this story. Here's the story. It's not you. It's not your story. It's somebody you know. A lady who, professing a belief in prayer, undertook to go shopping. The day before, she prayed that on her shopping day, the sun will shine. Dear Lord, I pray that when I go shopping for all of these sick kids out here, that it is a nice sunny day so that I can spend my time giving back to community. That's what we're going to say her prayer was. But upon completion of her prayer, she glared out of the window, this her, looking out the window, and saw some black cows and instantly declared, but I know it's going to rain. Oh, child, that's the tea. Yeah, do I need to repeat that? We are on our knees praying, Lord, please bring something into my life. Please work on me so that the man of my dreams, my Boaz, will show up on my footstep. Lord, please give me an opportunity to help my family grow prosperous. And then you open your eyes and you say, but he ain't coming today. And then guess who picks up your trash can? Guess who smiles at you and gives you the compliment? It's the trash man, but you didn't believe the Lord was going to send you your Boaz, and you definitely didn't believe he was going to look like that, so you done missed him. You said the prayer to bring me an opportunity that will no longer have me having to make a set up. It's been so long since I had to do it. I don't remember what it's called. An arrangement for my electric bill. And then somebody sends you a message and you're not even willing to look into the opportunity because you don't believe that it's going to show up that way, but you're still praying. And as soon as you get out that closet, you already saying it ain't going to happen. It's the belief that is keeping the prayers from being answered. Where is your magic in believing? You know what? Borrow somebody else's belief. Now, I skipped towards that because I felt like somebody in the room wasn't going to be here the whole time and they needed that. So I'm going to go on back because that was on page 33 and I done skipped through page 16, 17, and all the other things. But let's go to page 13. If you need to hear more of this, go get the book. They say you want to keep something from the people, put it in a book. On page 13, he says, 12 and 13. We're going to hit 12 and 13. Scientific proof that man could project his thoughts even at a great distance into others' minds. It is scientific proven that a man could project his thoughts even at a great distance. And now, because I believe this is true, I've seen it happen in my household. I have seen my 3-year-old who I pray that the outside factors of this world does not take this away from her, that I really feel like she can read our minds. I really feel like she has a high level of a high frequency that she'll say something to me and I'll go ask my husband, like, did you tell her? He was like, no, but I was thinking about it. Like on more than one occasion. She said to me one night, Daddy's going to do something. And then the next morning I said, oh, you must have told Mila you were going to do this. He was like, no, I just did it this morning. I was like, well, she sure told me last night you were going to do it. But I believe these things to be true. I believe that there's scientific proof that people can project their thoughts, even at a great distance. I believe that. He says here, this is the paradox. Many apparently well-educated men and women in their respective fields will, in their broad ignorance, this is on page 12, condemn the idea of thought power and will make no endeavor to learn about it. And yet, every one of them, if successful, has unconsciously made use of it. Again, many people will believe only what they like to believe or what fits into their own scheme of things, which does not mean that it's not true. They just don't believe it. Many people have asked me over the years, 12 years of success. And when I say 12 years of success, every year for the last 10 years, I have made more money in my business year over year. And people will ask me and I'll tell them other things, but you know what really is the base of me always winning and being successful year over year? So I determine success by money. Is making money year over year. That's how I'm defining success in this scenario, is the fact that I believed I would. There's literally no doubt in my mind. When something doesn't work out in my business, I don't say this is not going to work. I say this must just not be the way, because I believe that this is going to be a success. And because it's going to be success, I just got to keep working at it because this current way isn't getting it. The 7 figures is mine. I have no doubt about it. That $83,333 a month is mine. My belief is that it will be mine. Now, there are some things I have to work on, take the actions. Now, you guys stick around and come in here on section 3, which is 2 Tuesdays from now. You have to be able to apply the belief. It's not only saying the prayer and believing that God's going to answer. You have to apply that to action. So he says here on page 13, because you might be like, well, why have people been telling me about this? Well, I'm going to tell you what works for me. And this is what people have done for years. He says, for this reason, the sages concealed much of their profound knowledge from the multitude. Everybody's not ready for this conversation. I added that in there because they rightfully recognize the limitations of narrow minds and prejudiced opinions. I underline this. What the fool cannot learn, he laughs at. Somebody drop that in the comments. What the fool cannot learn, he laughs at. You know what I mean? People laughed at me carrying around a $5 product that then eventually we added on a $25 product and jokingly called me the jury lady. Oh, you still doing that thing? Oh, that thing got me away from my career. That thing allowed me to lay up with my husband of 5 years yesterday in the middle of the afternoon and watch a comedy movie, because at year 5, your gift is either wooden or utensils. So I got some new kitchen forks and spoons, and my kids walked off with those. And I got 4 dice, wooden dice that you can roll. One of them was a type of movie. So at 2:00 in the afternoon, I said, babe, you want to lay up and watch a movie? And he said, yeah, babe, I want to lay up and watch a movie. So we rolled a dice and comedy came up. So we laid in the bed while our 3-year-old was taking her nap and our high schooler was at school. And I had already checked off half of the things I had to do for the day and watched a movie in the middle of the day. So while people were laughing at me being a crazy jewelry lady, because that's what fools do, those who cannot learn laugh at thinking that, oh, this is what they think. This is what they say. They say that by this laughter, he shows superiority instead of latent idiocracy. No, baby, you can't be worried about the people laughing at you because laughter, a fool's laughter, is literally latent idiocracy. You cannot let latent idiocracy get in the way of your power of believing that you can have more, be more, live more, share more, care more, and all the other mores you can add onto the list. What the fool, I'm going to say that all in one sentence. I'm going to read it all on page 13. What the fool cannot learn, he laughs at, thinking that by his laughter, he shows superiority instead of latent idiocracy. But we're letting those who have latent idiocracy get in our heads and make us believe that we're not capable, that we don't have the power in us to be a success, and they laughing. Meanwhile, you and we and me should be laughing all the way to our bank because we have the magic of believing that the power is within us and we can do these things. Let me keep it moving because my time is almost up. Grab the book and see me back here on next Tuesday. And if you missed these, definitely follow me because this is posted in live right now on YouTube at The Christy Farmer. Follow me and subscribe over there. Now, the next thing he says here is, let me go. This says so many things. All right. Let me go to the next part. On page 19, use this one from page 19. He says on page 19, no one knows what thought really is. No one knows what thought really is, other than it is some sort of mental action. But like the unknown element of electricity, we see its manifestations everywhere. No one really understands thought, but we see the manifestations of our thoughts everywhere, good and bad. If our thoughts are self-defeating, if our thoughts of we can, if our thoughts of I don't know how, if my thought is I can't learn, if my thought is I'm not good at technology, then that manifests. And the technology you don't end up being good at. And the more money you never end up making. We also see the other end of the manifestation of pop. Now, what happens, it might take longer for you because you have more thought work to do. But here's the great, you can buy into other people's beliefs. Some of you before you came in here are buying my belief by listening to me. But at the same token, if you're listening to somebody who doesn't have belief, you buy into their lack of belief. This is why they say you become as powerful, as successful, as wise as the 5 people you spend most time around, because you end up buying into their belief, whether you know it or not. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. That's what he says on page 19. Quote it, put it on your page today, put a selfie picture of you and watch the people. Listen, let me just, this little tip right here. Let me explain to you how social media works. And this is going to really shine a light on your Facebook friends who are always saying, all I see is negativity, or all I see is sex and drugs, or all I see is this. This is how social media works. You see whatever you interact with. So if you go on Facebook, if you go on YouTube, if you go on Instagram, and all you're clicking on and commenting and liking and loving and sharing is reels of babies, then Facebook and social media is going to keep giving you reels of babies. So if you have 5,000 friends and 3 of them post reels of babies, you're not going to see the 997. You're going to see the 3 that post reels of babies. People say that they're reading your mind. Now, they might be hearing, depending on your settings of your phone, but they're hearing either what you're around or what you're actually saying, and it shows up in your feed. So if you find yourself watching a whole lot of porno and your phone is hearing the porno in the background, then guess what you're going to see in your feed? Porno and sex and dildos and toys. So when you go and make a post about all I see is this in my timeline, you're basically telling everyone that that's what you spend your time doing or being around. Guess what my timeline ends up being filled with? Entrepreneur, mindset, grow this, grow that, be this. Because when my phone is being picked up in my background, when I'm doing my business Cleaning up, guess what I'm listening to? Mindset, motivational, get ahead, because I understand that what is around me is what I get. So the quote that all that we are is a result of what we have thought, either consciously or subconsciously. And if you want to learn more about the subconscious, come back here with me next Tuesday, and we're going to get into the subconscious. That's page 19. Somebody drop that. That's it. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. Period. Now, keeping it moving. That's page 19. On page 20 says, the very way we walk, he says you walk, but I'm putting me into this. The very way that we walk, the way that we carry ourselves, the way that we talk, our manner of dress, all reflect our way of thinking. A slovenly carriage is an indication of slovenly thinking, whereas an upright, alert carriage is the outward sign of inward strength and confidence. What we exhibit outwardly, you are inwardly. You can't fool the people. I don't care if you put Prada on it. I don't care if you put Mercedes, Tesla on it. I don't care if you put whatever is in the inside will come out on the outside. I didn't say it. They said it in 1948 in The Magic of Believing. What you exhibit outwardly, you are inwardly. You are the product of your own thought. What you believe yourself to be, you are. What we believe, we are. I believe that I am nothing less than a success. I believe if I don't know enough now, I will know enough to hit it. I don't walk into the room thinking I'm a know-how. I walk into the room knowing what I know and being open to learning more from those who know more than me. The person who said you need to read this book knows more than me. He walks like he knows more than me, which has added to his income that he has, his following of not just dirt people, his following of good, true people, because you can have millions of followers but they garbage. I don't want to follow somebody who has millions of followers that garbage. I want the quality of your followers to be good. So I'm reading this and I'm passing my belief on to you. Now, we got to go to the Bible. The Bible says, I don't know what quote it is, and y'all can quote it right here. It says, but he says it in the book. I'm quoting the book on page 20. The biblical saying, for whatever so a man soweth, that shall he also reap. What you sow shall you reap. If we're talking about sowing, what belief are we sowing into ourselves? Shakespeare, years later, says there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. What does this mean? Become more intelligible. That's what he says. I'm just reading it. All right, we're going to keep it moving. Now, here's some examples of individuals who have achieved remarkable success through the power of belief. Now, on page 20, let me go back to page 17. I'm going to back up because this reminds me of the recession that we're in right now. It says, it was in the same period that it came to me in a flash that the reason my firm was going on the rocks was not because of the threatening outside happenings and events, but because of the mental attitude of its members and employees. We were all succumbing to the mass fear thoughts. Succumbing to mass fear thoughts. You ain't got to worry about writing succumbing, because if I was you sitting over there, I'd be like, succumbing, S-U-C. Is it 2 C's? Is it 2 M's? 1 B? So you don't have to worry about that. But drop in the comments, mass fear thoughts. Mass fear thoughts. Drop that in the comments. We were all succumbing to mass fear thoughts. We feared that the depression was weakening our spirit and sweeping everything downhill to financial disaster. And with our own thoughts of ruin, we were attracting the disaster ourselves. This book was written in 1948. And then during that depression, he found then that they weren't being a success, their lack of success has nothing to do with the depression. It had everything to do with fear, watching the news that's saying everything's going to drop. Let me tell you who won during the pandemic. Me. Let me tell you who won during the pandemic. The people who were around me won because we weren't buying into the fact that we had to pivot. We believed that at this time we could make money and we could be successful and we could help other people make money and be successful, even though we couldn't go outside. It is the fear that is on the that's why I don't watch news. They put mass fear in our thoughts. Oh, there's going to be a lack of water. And everybody outside running around trying to buy water. I don't even know that they're saying it's a lack. So we fine. Because we don't have any belief otherwise that we're going to be fine. They've been saying a recession for like the last 5 years now. I don't even think about it. I think about what my belief is. We're going to win in this household no matter what. So I spend my time thinking about how I can do better tomorrow than I did today. How I can do better as a household next month than we did last month. How I can do better next year than we did last year, no matter the factors outside that I cannot control. The magic of believing, because at the end of the day, I'm out here being magical, no matter what. And so I read things that like this, that fosters the same belief that I have. That in any time I may backslide, I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't going to work. Nope, because I have the magic of believing. And I keep feeding myself things that follows up to what I believe, that backs up my belief system. So they weren't being successful because it was depression. They weren't being successful because they believed it was a depression and that they couldn't be successful. That's the T. If we get in a space and you're wondering yourself, like, how are they still winning? Because they believe they can. I'm doing all the things. I'm saying all the prayers. I'm showing up every day. I hear that all the time. I'm being consistent. I'm showing up every day. But do you believe that what you're doing will work? There's a difference between doing something just because they tell you to do it and you don't believe it. And the other hand is you're doing it because they told you and you believe. It shows up differently on camera. Like I could come in here and be like, y'all, they told me to read this book. So I'm going to read this book. And this is what it says. It says, listen to my tone. It says that you can still be successful during the depression. That's what it says. Now, I don't know, y'all. I don't know, but I'm just reading because they told me to come read this. Somebody who makes 7 figures in a month told me to come read this. I don't believe it's going to help, but I'm going to do what they told me to do. And so I'm going to share it with y'all. And I'm not going to apply it to my life because I'm not sure if I really believe it, but that's what they said. They said to read this. Now, if I came in here talking about this book, would you be able to buy into my belief? No. That's like the same lady who, Lord, I really want to go outside and give back to these kids tomorrow. So please make it sunny outside. And then you open your eyes. I ain't gonna be able to go get them kids on stuff tomorrow. Look at them clouds. You don't even believe it. But see, I believe this is where the belief comes in. You pray for it. You look outside and you see the clouds and you're like, but I know my Lord's going to make a way. So during that day, what do? You prepare for success the next day. And how do you get success the next day? Because you prepared even though you saw the black clouds. Now, what is the woman does who prays, opens up and sees the black clouds and believes, I'm not even going to do this tomorrow. She don't do no preparation that day. Instead, she goes and folds up clothes. She goes and does the kitchen, her normal things, but nothing to prepare for success tomorrow because she don't believe it's going to happen. Then tomorrow comes and it is sunny, but she didn't believe it. So now she's not prepared to be a success. Well, guess what? Her girlfriend across town prayed, saw the same black clouds, still prepared for success. So when the next day it actually was sunny, guess what? She was able to be a success. That's the difference between the belief and actually taking the action, and the not belief and not taking the action. This is why people wake up the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. It is not what we do today that wins today. It is what we do today that wins 3 months from now. Are you going to still show up today even though you don't see any wins today so that you can win 3 months from now? I know my summer is about to be fire, not because I'm winning today, but because I'm doing the work today without seeing the results, and I understand how it works. Been there, done that, and I know this summer it's going to all come rolling in. And there's somebody right now who does not believe what I believe, who wakes up and says, I'm not going to do it today because I'm not going to see results today. And then 3 months when I'm winning, and there's comma after comma after comma, they're going to be like, girl, I should have jumped in when you jumped in. You did jump in physically. You didn't jump in mentally. You didn't believe it then. And so your pockets look like they do later when mine don't. Let me get off of here because that's the tea. And that's not even the whole part of the book. You better borrow somebody's belief until you believe it yourself. I borrowed somebody's belief. And I'm not borrowing nobody's belief who on the same level I'm in. I'm borrowing somebody's belief who got the money that I want. I want $1 million a year. The belief I'm borrowing is somebody who makes $1 million a month. Because if I fall short of the $1 million a month and hit that $1 million a year, I'm winning. But we at work listening to the person at the cubicle. If her belief system was set up right, she wouldn't be sitting next to you in the cubicle, sis. And I'm only on page 21, and I'm supposed to cover page until 40 on this tea. Y'all better buy y'all some belief. That was page 22. And I really need to stop right there, but I'm going to show you this next one. This publication is on page 22, has been known for more than 100 years. This is the Bible of Business and Finance. Somebody dropped that in the comment, and y'all can Google this later. It was written in 1932. The Bible of Business and Finance. Actually, it's called Commercial and Financial. It's called Commercial and Financial Chronicle, but they call it the Bible of Business and Finance. And this is what he says. In quotes, he says that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly is the law. What do you seek? Pay the price and take it away. There's no limit to the supply, but the more precious the thing you seek, the higher the price. For everything we obtain must be barter the gold of our own spirits. Read that again, because y'all didn't catch it the first time. What do you seek? That's the question. What is it that you seek? You got to know. What do you want? Really? Pay the price and take it away. You have to pay the price of what you want. There's no limit to the supply. There's no limit to the money out there. It will be the wealth exists and it will be transferred. Will it be transferred to you or somebody who has the belief? But the more precious the thing you seek, like let's say you're seeking millionaire status, everybody ain't get it. It's a precious commodity. So the more precious the thing you seek, the higher the price. Now somebody will say the higher the price, I ain't getting the money. Well, listen, they're not talking about paying the price of money. It says for everything we obtain, we must barter the gold of our own spirits. Our spirits is the barter. So we're going to stop right there. Where to find the gold of all the powerful? How do you secure this gold that we're talking about? This gold of the spirit. It says on page 22. It's accurate. Like, y'all want to know, how do we secure this gold of the spirit? Well, let me read it to you. And then you go get the book yourself. He says you secure it by finding yourself. When you find yourself, you find freedom and all the riches, achievement, and prosperity. Period. Now, if you've been following me, I've been doing this Tuesday Tea for 4 years straight. If you've been following me, if there's one theme that you don't ever pick up, if you don't pick up anything else, pick up this. The power is in knowing yourself. The gold that you need, the price you need to pay is finding you and then believing that who you are, who God made you to be, who was born out of the situation that you grew up in, who was born to the mother that the God thought was fit for you, who was born to the father or lack thereof that God saw fit for you. Listen, I didn't go to seminary school, but now I finally, by God, understand how preachers get up there on the stage and are able to preach into the people, because at the end of the day, you have everything in you that you need. You just have to believe it and apply it. Stop believing that what you have and what has been given to you is lack. And it is exactly what you need to be who you need to be to change the lives, because at the end of the day, success comes by how many lives you change. You change nobody's life positively, you are not a success. Period and point blank. And that's the end of it. I'm going to see y'all back here next week for the Tuesday Tea with me. You can go ahead and follow, because this right now, you want to watch the replay and you can't find it on Facebook. It is already uploading onto YouTube as we speak. This is on both my Facebook pages and it's also on my YouTube. YouTube.com/The Christy Farmer. And then when you get over there, like, subscribe, leave some comments and what your takeaway was. And then I'll be back here next week, same place, same time. We're going to harness the power within. So this next week, you're going to spend the time believing. Whatever you got to do and listen to, stop listening to and stop watching. Stop following. Whatever you got to do, harness that or know or believe. Now we understand what it is. Grab the book. This book is 169 pages. And I'm telling you, it's not the easiest read. All right, you might have to go over to Google and figure out what it's saying, but use AI and ChatGPT, and then join me back here next week. Love y'all. Bye.